I'd like to offer the floor to our Administrator of the NNSA, Lieutenant General Frank Klotz.
Thank you, Madeline. And right at the outset, I want to say a special word of thanks to Madeline Creedon and her team of people who have worked very, very hard over the last several weeks to bring this together. I'm delighted to welcome you all to this celebration of the 20th anniversary of the Stockpile Stewardship Program. 20 years ago, the United States embarked upon a bold journey, a paradigm shift, if you will, switching from nuclear explosive testing as the primary means of assessing the safety, the security, the reliability, the effectiveness of America's nuclear arsenal to an approach based entirely on advanced scientific tools and techniques. As we'll hear many times today, this approach has been extraordinarily successful. So in a very real sense, this event honors a triumph of innovation and invention. It also pays tribute to the remarkable accomplishment of the literally thousands of scientists, technicians, and engineers working within the nuclear security enterprise who turned a vision into a reality. The Department of Energy and its laboratories and production plants and test site possess one of the most talented and highly motivated workforces assembled anywhere, anytime. They are the stewards in stockpile stewardship. Now, for many of us, it doesn't seem that long ago, but cast your mind back to the early 1990s. As you'll recall, the national security environment was in a state of flux. The collapse of the Soviet Union and the end of the Cold War led to a dramatic reduction in the number of nuclear weapons held by both the United States and by Russia. It was in this context that President Bill Clinton announced in August 1995 that a comprehensive test ban was the right step as we continue pulling back from the nuclear precipice. It moves us one step closer, he said, to a day when no nuclear weapons are detonated anywhere on the face of the earth. In taking this step, the President and his advisors made a bold assumption and put their faith in our ability, and I quote the President, to meet the challenge of maintaining a nuclear deterrent under a comprehensive nuclear test ban through a science-based stockpiled stewardship program without nuclear testing. Now, as many of you will recall, because you were present at the creation, not everyone was confident about the prospects of a science-based stockpiled stewardship program. Not as confident as President Clinton was. In fact, there were many unanswered technical and policy questions. Could non-explosive experiments yield the right kind of data needed to certify the stockpile? Would the nation be willing to make the necessary resource commitments over an extended period of time to make the program a reality? Well, due to the unwavering efforts of the Department of Energy, our laboratories, our production plants, those questions were answered with a resounding yes. Today, we can simulate every aspect of a nuclear weapon, from the physics that drive its detonation to the character of its explosive yield and output. In fact, we now have more detailed knowledge about how nuclear weapons work and how nuclear weapons age than it was possible to learn through nuclear explosive testing. Secretary of Energy Moniz, one of the key architects of the Science-Based Stockpile Stewardship Program, will tell you more about the department and how the department and its partners developed the science and technology that made today possible, and I certainly don't want to steal my boss's thunder, so you'll have to wait for his remarks for more details. But let me add, by way of closing, that while the last 20 years have resulted in significant gains in the understanding of our stockpile, it would be short-sighted to say that our work is finished, to declare victory, or to rest on our laurels. Many challenges continue to confront our weapons stockpile. Components and materials continue to age, security environments evolve, and new threats emerge. These trends compel us to look ahead and consider what we must do for the next 20 years. Now, DOE is addressing the future of the SSP along 4 crucial lines. First, we are recapitalizing our critical infrastructure. Second, we are continuing to refine existing diagnostic capabilities and to develop cutting-edge tools and equipment. Third, we are pushing the envelope in computing performance and data analytics, aiming for exascale by 2023. Fourth, and perhaps most importantly, we are developing the next generation of leaders, scientists, and nuclear policy professionals. Let me say a bit more about this last point by reiterating that the people that do stockpile stewardship are the stewards of America's deterrent. I'm pleased to report that we continue to attract top talent from schools around the country, from around the world. Over 60% of our NNSA graduate fellows, many of whom are here today, and I hope you have an opportunity to chat with them, stay with DOE. Nearly 80% stay in the U.S. government. One of the greatest pleasures of my job, quite frankly, is the opportunity to regularly visit our DOE and NNSA labs and production plants. On every occasion, I take the opportunity to meet with the newest member of the lab teams. In fact, just last week, I visited Sandia and Albuquerque and chatted with one scientist who had been at the lab for only a year, fresh out of graduate school. His excitement and enthusiasm about doing cutting-edge science on one-of-a-kind equipment alongside the world's foremost experts in his field was palpable, and it was contagious. I believe we attract top talent in large part because the Stockpile Stewardship mission offers aspiring and seasoned scientists and engineers the opportunity to explore uncharted territory in physics, in chemistry, material sciences, and high-performance computing. Through their work, we are now getting initial glimpses into the timescales that drive fusion, down to a million billionth of a second. We can look inside weapons without opening up fully non-destructive testing and make out defects on unprecedented microscopic scales to uncover weapons aging and design flaws. We are pushing computing and weapon simulations to the exascale level. That's doing a billion calculations per second, and have been designated as a lead federal agency by the President to achieve that ambitious goal. In short, today's Stockpile Stewardship Program is laying the foundation for the next 20 years for future discoveries and attracting the right people to fulfill our solemn responsibility to maintain a secure, safe, and effective deterrent with a smaller stockpile. Today, as we reflect upon the past 20 years, I believe we can face the future with confidence and with optimism for the next 20 years. With that, allow me to introduce someone who has advocated for the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty and for the Science-Based Stockpile Stewardship Program from the very beginning, from its inception. He was an undersecretary in the Department of Energy the undersecretary in the Department of Energy nearly 20 years ago. Remember, at one time we had only one. Many of you already know he's a distinguished scholar and a leading expert in physics and other scientific fields. He has dedicated his life to energy issues in both academia and government. I can testify from personal experience. He is passionate about the nuclear security mission and the people who carry it out. And he has been steadfast and unwavering in his support for NNSA's mission and NNSA's people. On a lighter note, he has recently become a star on late-night television. And I think I can say with confidence that he has been retweeted on Twitter more than any other cabinet secretary in American history. So please join me in extending a warm welcome to the Secretary of Energy, Ernie Moniz.